During our set, some girl let out a can of mace in the pit.
Oh God!
What the fuck?
And it's a small, it's there's no windows in this venue, right?
Right.
So we have it on video. You can start to see everybody on the stage behind us like start coughing, and then eventually, like, I was singing, so I just felt it like hit me so hard because I was probably breathing in like all that shit. We had to stop the show and clear everybody out, open the doors up, and try to air out the venue for like 30 fucking minutes. And so the story was that some chick got hit by some dude in the pit, and she just like probably wasn't used to going these shows. She just like fucking went and just like sprayed him.
God.
And
welcome to the 99th episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the Mathcore adjacent communities. If you beautiful people in chat have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them and I'll try to read them aloud. If you like to sub for $5, you get access to some exclusive emotes as well as access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming services. You can also sub for free by attaching your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this in your car and have no idea what I'm talking about, the show is first shown live on Twitch. Join us every Sunday and Wednesday at twitch.tv/thecast for the live cast. With all that out of the way, let me introduce our guest today who dropped their sophomore album, An Exercise in Discontent, last Friday. Welcome in Under The Pier. How's it going, guys?
Woo! Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys were able to get it on here. Tell us who you are, what you do in the band. I guess we'll start with Daniel.
Hi, I'm Dan. I play bass guitar.
I guess Jesse?
I am Jesse. I am the singer at Under the Pier. Thank you.
And I'm David, and I play the drums.
So looks like you guys started your Facebook way back in 2019, just 2 years ago. How'd you guys get together?
Yeah, I think I knew Dylan for a few years, living here in Baltimore. All of us are transplants from other cities except for Dan. So Dylan and I met at a some random ass show. I was wearing a Dysrhythmia t-shirt. Shout out to all the Dysrhythmia fans out there.
Hell yes,
and we started hanging out for a bit, and then didn't talk to him for a while. Met David through a mutual friend who's a drummer. And David and I started talking about starting something up, and finally got Dylan involved. And then we started writing music about 2.5 years ago. And then we found Dan through the Mathcore Index community Facebook channel. So, and then recorded our first EP that summer.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Mathcore Index community, or Mathcore Index in general. Fucking Christian's killing it. Christian's also in the chat. Nice to see you, Christian.
Hi, Christian.
So your band name is Under the Pier, and ever since I saw your name and trying to rack my brain as to what could possibly be underneath this pier that is so metal. So why did we land on the name Under the Pier?
The story is I worked in an area called Fells Point in Baltimore. It's a long story short. I bartend here on this bar right off the pier, and there's a plethora of vagrants and strange people that lurk around each street corner in this neighborhood. Some of them would be upstanding citizens who would be into the bar to drink and party. Other people would be homeless. And anyways, you're always running into all these interesting characters. A lot of them very terrible people. And on multiple occasions, the next day I would come into to open work, and I would find the cops pulling someone that I served the night before out of the water underneath the pier next to the bar.
God damn.
Over several years, I unfortunately had to experience this, where the cops were pulling dead bodies out from the Baltimore Harbor. And on 2 times I recognized them as seeing them just the night before. So it's kind of like follows the lyrical content of people just being terrible. And, kind of you get what's coming to you kind of situation. Not to say these poor people did. It's just, the story of something that's very unfortunate and very terrible that happens within the city.
You ever afraid to go to work?
Oh yes, definitely.
God damn, dude, that is. Oodles of Brutal says it's the second highest per capita murder rate in America. Really? Jesus Christ. That's fucking
We don't
insane.
fuck around.
And it's pretty metal, I'm not gonna lie, but like, fuck, dude.
If you're gonna do something, we do it right.
Not half-assing this. So you've done a lot for just 2 years. Like, it's a crazy short period of time for all this. Dropped your self-titled EP in August 2019. Your debut album Puff Pieces from last year is one of the bigger releases for our genre. Congratulations on that. And now you're back with your sophomore album, which is an even bigger release, and Exercise and Discontent out via Dark Chill Records, who also did Puff Pieces. So what are you discontent with?
Yeah, David, what are you mad about?
No, just the life and world in general, No, I mean, I think that it's just like an overall theme of just how on edge everybody is, and it's like kind of been consistent for the last several years, but especially over the last year and a half, right, with everything going on. But I don't know. I think Jesse came up with the album title, and granted, he writes a lot of the lyrical content. I mean, all of the lyrical content, but the album title just kind of came up one day. We were talking about it, and he said it, and I was like, "Yep, that's it." It was kind of like when we came up with the band name too. Like Jesse was like, "How about Under the Pier?" And I was like, "Yep, that's it. That's the one." Like, you just know, like when you get a good name for something, you're like, "Yeah, that's the way it should be."
It's fitting. I mean, a lot of the songs have to do with various issues relating to heartbreak, depression, failure, being abandoned, being unhappy with where you are in the world, and unhappy about how other people treat you and treat each other. So it all culminates, that name really does sum up the vibe of the album, and yeah, it fits.
Well, it's an awesome album. What makes this one different from Puff Pieces?
I think as a whole, we definitely like thought things out a little bit more. Like we did some things that we didn't do on Puff Pieces. We brought riffs back. We dissected riffs more and kind of like broke them up and built on them a little bit longer. It felt like, to me at least. I think Puff Pieces was kind of just jumping from riff to riff to riff, and it's a perfect example of what we call riff salad, right, in this world. But I think, in my opinion, I think we thought things out better, and there's a lot of different ways that we did that, a lot of different examples, but that's like the overall. And then obviously switching to a 7-string and getting heavier.
So a lot more like actual songwriting and stuff like that, instead of just like coming up with sick riffs, even though these are all sick riffs.
This was the first time I experienced writing an album, because you know how, like, I mean, Chris, you know this, like when you start a band, you're just trying to write songs, right? You're just trying to have content so you can go play shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what Puff Pieces felt like. It didn't really feel like we were writing an album. It felt like we were trying to find our identity so that, then we could go write an album. So it really was, just getting our, our grip on who we were and what we wanted to sound like. So when, the pandemic hit and we lost, 40 shows, right when we put out Puff Pieces, we were like, well, let's just start writing this one, because what else could we do? And but it really felt like we were writing an album. We weren't playing any shows. We were going to practice twice a week. We were, spending a ton of time on our own, like whether me writing lyrics or those guys trying to figure out what they're doing. That whole year really was an experience. It was pretty boring and brutal, you know what I mean? Because we couldn't go have any fun, but from the beginning of it until the end of it, we all had all these things happen in our lives. Like, I could tell you from my, personal experience, it was hell. And, when we started writing the album, when we finished, we were all in completely kind of different places in our lives. And you can hear that on this album. You hear this kind of just various degrees of personal anxiety and all these different things that really did shine through in this song. And it really does feel like for the first time I've ever been a part of writing an actual album.
Yeah, same.
It's interesting. Interesting for that y'all were able to like put so much into this. I mean, you had so much time too, like all the lockdowns and stuff like that. Like, you had a chance to make something really amazing.
We had a lot of time.
Oh, how
It
long did
seemed
it
like
take
we had a
y'all
lot
to write this then?
Well, it was at least a year, wasn't it, Jesse?
Yeah.
That's a pretty long time. Yeah.
A little bit more. We
But
started.
at the same time, as we went along, we were like, okay, maybe we were halfway through or something. Okay, we have to book the studio time for so-and-so a month or whatever. And then we're like, okay, that means we have to, every so-and-so increment of time, have a song completed. And so like, well, yeah, it seems like we had plenty of time because it was, everything was locked down and we were just sitting on our asses, but we weren't. It still was like almost down to the wire with the last song being written and trying to get it really tight before we tried to show it in the studio. And we want to show up there and not have Scott have to chop all my pieces up to make it fit, right?
we were originally supposed to record it in March, and we were like, fuck, man, because like Dylan had to take a month off to quarantine to see his nieces and nephews. I mean, we had some setbacks, but it wasn't like we were on some kind of crazy time crunch. We wanted to record this thing by June just to get it out now, because we know the album cycle and you need to wait and promote the thing. So we had a personal deadline of kind of by June. So, but we would have loved another month, but I mean, that's just how it is, man. Like it just happens that way. But
yeah, I think, we wanted to be those guys who put out a lot of really good stuff in a short period of time. But then goddamn Fawn Limbs exists and makes us look bad. So we just look like another band.
Yeah.
I mean, I think y'all fucking crushed it on this one, to be honest. Real quick, B Dowdy's saying that Dan's raving right now. I mean, we were talking before, dude. It totally looks like you're in a club going on, man. Just vibing over there, dude. Oodles of Brutals is asking the question we were gonna get to, but we can do it now. What's the recording process like? Do you guys jam in a room and figure stuff out, or I guess the writing process? Do you guys jam in a room and figure out, or do the modern thing of demoing stuff out DIY at a home studio and flesh things out?
We usually sit in a room with each other with our little whiteboard and write numbers on it and just figure things out. A lot of times, like Dylan usually comes up with the first riff, and it's a mix of him coming up with new stuff, and then it's a mix of like he had some, because Dylan's a deathcore kid at heart. He had some like old deathcore project that he was working on in like 2014, 15, something like that. And he pulled a lot of riffs from that over time. And then he's, for the most part, he comes up with stuff, or sometimes I just get like a pattern in my head and then just kind of put some sort of progression to it. And then Dylan will figure something out to it. And we just kind of bounce back and forth. And then Dan usually comes in and does his thing, lays down a track on top of it. And Jesse writes the vocals pretty much when the song's done, right? For the most part.
Yeah, we live and die by our whiteboard. We'll just come up with random number patterns and mix, and we'll match something that Dylan, which by the way, we apologize, Dylan's not here, he had to work, but he starts and ends everything we do. We really are driven by Dylan's guitar writing and playing abilities. And so yeah, we kind of just sit in a room together and figure out numbers, weird sequences, and try to mesh it all together.
Well, so I think you guys are extremely talented for being a localized band. I'm really surprised one of the big labels hasn't picked you guys up yet. Like, y'all should be on like Good Fight or something like that, big labels, I guess. I think that my favorite aspect of y'all's music is the mathy breakdowns. Obviously, it's all badass, but the way that y'all handle these breakdowns is so like expert. Like, it's got this nice rhythm. You can still bounce your head to it. It's not like gonna break your neck or whatever. And you keep it off kilter, but still very driving and engaging. A lot like how Mouth Breather is in bands like that. I think a really good example is Fetch Me One of Them Personalities, which is a hilarious name, by the way. I really love that. But yeah, what are your current influences going into this?
Eon Dissonance, the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because we could tell you all about these influences, and it doesn't sound like our band. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's in there. You know, like everything we get compared to is the mid 2000s MySpace era mathcore kind of pop that did exist at one point. Mathcore actually was selling pretty well.
I wouldn't call it pop though. Like it wasn't that popular.
It was because
these guys were making a living off of their music at that time.
Yeah. Sure. It was possible to actually support yourself playing mathcore at one point. Did it last very long? No. Was Dillinger able to do it? Obviously. But then you have this whole plethora of bands that were not as popular as Dillinger, and some of those bands there's a million of them. You know, Number 12, Eon Dissonance. Fuck it, man. Fear Before the Mark.
Isn't it Ion Dissonance?
Into the Moat. Yeah, I give them a hard time for saying Eon all the time because it's Ion.
I don't know if I was saying it wrong.
I'm so sorry.
Come on, man, do better. No, I'm kidding. You're great.
But yeah, you can hear all those influences in it, but it's not like we really sound like it. But
yeah. No, I think there's especially like the last year. Two of the bands that I listened to the most that I felt like were kind of driving the style of drums that I wanted to play towards was definitely Ion Dissonance, and definitely especially Curse. Like that album is fucking perfect. Like I think that's like one of the best mathcore albums ever.
I just played that in a school bus like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's solid. It's so good. But that, and then Dead Kiwis, actually, for me, Dead Kiwis is
dude, they're sick.
One of those bands that like the way that the drums are and that everything that they do, it's perfect. Like it complements the guitar work so well. So that's kind of what I strive for personally. And I know Dylan's like in a very similar boat to that. Because Dylan didn't have a car for a while. He just recently got one a little while back. So we used to drive him home all the time. And like we would always talk about like, oh man, like I want to write a part like that. Like that's sick, you know, like those kinds of things. But yeah, like Jesse said, I don't think we necessarily sound like any one band in particular.
Right, I was gonna say that too. I think y'all have like this very nice original sound. Like I said, like you combine the techie stuff with the rhythmic stuff very, very well. A lot of bands will lean in one way or the other, and I feel like you guys are in like this really nice, like middle of the road approach. That very, very.
I just got back from Furnace Fest, and my favorite album is Bless the Martyr Kiss a Child by Norma Jean, obviously. So I was sitting there with David from Fall 50 Feet, and we were sitting at this table, and we look over, and which, by the way, I've never seen a vinyl pressing of this album. And I look over, and this dude has 3 of those vinyls sitting on the hood of his car, like that's just parked in the fest. And so I walk over, and it's the guy from the fucking label. And I was like, where did you get these vinyl? And he was like, we made them. Surprise, we're selling them. So it was like a scavenger hunt at Furnace Fest for people to go find where he is in the festival selling these albums. So me and David like freaked out, and we went and bought our vinyls. But I listened to Josh Goggins' vocals on that album, and I always want to sound like that, but never will. But it's always in the back of my head.
June Bringer says, shout out to Fall 50 Feet. Exactly, shout out to Fall 50 Feet. Great guys. So you don't have your lyrics posted. You were telling us a little bit about what they're about.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that. You know why that is? Christian, we got to get on that. We do like a joint band camp now. So ours and Mathcore Index. So Christian just, posted all of our stuff on Bandcamp, but yeah, Christian, I got to send you those lyrics so I can get you to post those. But yeah, we'll post them this week. Promise.
Well, we have all the numbers from the dry erase board on the album artwork, though. If you want to read those,
yeah, just read the numbers.
Do you have any lyrics that really that you really identify with? I guess it's all yours, but what are your favorite lyrics that would be on the album?
There's some good one-liners in there. I'll find my peace at the fucking end. we were trying to figure out which one to put on a shirt, and we decided on it becomes an albatross hung around your neck. I love that line. Just about, that's the story of the old captain ship that his first mate killed an albatross bird, and it was supposed to be bad luck to do that, so the captain made him wear the dead carcass of the bird around his neck for like a month or something like that, as a burden. There's some stuff in there.
I like all your spoken word stuff, like when you said fabulous and stuff. Like you just like you put it in at like the exact right time. I feel like sometimes people like mess up with that kind of stuff, but yeah.
Chris, you're in Allen, Texas, right?
I am.
Okay, I'm from Wichita Falls. I grew up in Texas.
I know.
I used to bartend at North Park, North Park, right? The mall in Dallas. So I bartended for Nordstrom, and these old women would come in there, and they said "fabulous" like 15 times, like, in a conversation. Fabulous, everything's so fabulous. And they were just like the worst, like Highland Park, rich people you'd ever met, and nothing about anything you're doing is fabulous. I just wanted to tell them this. So I've always hated that word. But yeah.
Okay.
Can I add something in there, Jesse? Like, I don't know if the line is in the actual lyrics or not, but fetch me one of them personalities. Like,
yeah,
it just hits me so hard because I went ahead and assumed that it was about the people that you're bartending to or whatever at work. But like, we all have those generic people in our lives that is just really frustrating.
Yeah.
I can't help but being judgmental about generic, boring people.
Yeah, that's definitely a song that's kind of about just like how people in society are just really clueless how to talk to other people, like strangers, and how to like treat each other with respect. It's one of those. I can't believe the lyrics aren't up now. That completely like ran over my head. So I want you guys to read those lyrics because they're pretty goddamn funny.
Yeah, I didn't. I was trying to look for them today because I figured y'all would have them with the album being up, and I didn't see them up there. Yeah. Oodles of Brutals says that he needs an Under the Pier fabulous tee now. Stat. So
right.
This was produced by Emmett Seglia? And engineered by Scott Ensign at Obscura Sounds, the same guy that did Puff Pieces. You got it mixed by Pedram Valiani from Frontier at Outlier Sound, mastered by Brad Boatwright at Audio Siege, because everybody has everything mastered by Brad Boatwright at Audio Siege. I don't know why every album. Yeah, exactly. Every single album. So you got a nice team behind you. What was it like recording all this stuff?
It was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good. It was a lot.
Moving on.
Next question.
Yeah, no, it was a lot. I think it was interesting. I think it was the first time that any of us had ever worked with anybody at any level, like at a producing level, like Emmett did for us. And like, hats off to Emmett. I mean, we sent him all of our songs, and I mean, like a week turnaround, maybe 2 weeks turnaround. He came back and had like a paragraph of notes for every song, and had, timestamps and all these different things and different ideas that he had of like, his goal, what he said his goal for us was to help make this the best record possible. And there's a lot of little things that he added in that we adapted and put into our songs that just made a lot of it was, dynamic stuff more than anything.
So he helped you write the songs then, or?
To some degree. We had everything written already the way we wanted it originally, and then he kind of reanalyzed things. And like, that was the whole thing, was like to put in like an outside perspective to hear something, because, we had just been sitting in a room working on these songs for the last year. Nobody else had really heard them.
Right.
So it's like, it was interesting to have somebody with an outside perspective. And he's my drum teacher, right? So for me, he focused on my stuff more than anybody else, really. But, add a fill at this part, or do this there, or, make those some flam notes instead of just normal hits, right? Like, do little things that would kind of accent everything that we were trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll add in with the Scott Ensign he engineered and produced, and I can tell you the bass guitar stuff would not have come together with anyone else, because he is a bassist as well. So that worked out nicely, but it was for the bass stuff, it was mostly just me and him for a couple of days, and Jesse stopped by for a little while, but he was really able to show me like, okay, let this thing just be a guitar thing, but definitely chime in on this thing. And like, it's a lot more tasteful as far as like, what hits harder and what doesn't, because what has bass guitar behind it and what doesn't. And when the bass guitar goes away for a little thing and then comes back on the Jun or whatever, then it makes it hit that much harder. And I definitely enjoy everything we did a lot more because of his input there.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's good to have people that are like hands-on helping you out with all this stuff, rather than just being like, oh, do your thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, Scott's amazing, man. We really do owe a lot to Scott for doing the EP and pup pieces, and then engineering this one, and just getting it to a point where we could send it to Pedram, and he could take it from there. But hats off to Scott and Ped and Brad Boatwright and Emmett. Emmett also, by the way, is an incredible fucking drummer. I don't know if anybody who's listening is in the Brooklyn area, but go see Emmett play drums. Really good.
Yeah. The first time that I'd seen him was because they did a cover of Miss Machine a couple years ago, and I watched him play that, and I was just like, "What the fuck, man!"
the whole album.
Yeah, it was like note for note every
the
song.
whole album. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. At a live show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What band was he with when he did that?
That was like mostly Semaphore. I think it was all Semaphore, but there was some other pieces, maybe one other person. I don't remember, but yeah, no, I mean, everybody that was involved, like in the process, including Brittany, right? Jesse's fiance, who did the artwork, and dealing with Christian, as always, like everybody was like insanely supportive and helpful, and just, really made this process like a lot easier for us.
Well, you brought up the artwork. That was the next thing we're moving out to. So we got the art done by Brittany Herbinko. Herbinko, I think I'm pronouncing that right. We got it up on the screen now. Tell us what this is about.
Yeah, should I get her on here? She's sitting next to me.
Hey, if she is, yeah, sure, whatever.
Brittany!
Britt, you want to join this interview and talk about the artwork?
So we got this guy and we shot him in the head.
No.
That's going to be a no. Yeah, so I can tell you the concept. The concept we kind of wanted to make it look like an old medical journal. And then it kind of took a life of its own. We looked at like the Gray's Anatomy handbook and a couple of different things. And I just told Britt, I want you to do your interpretation of this. And so, but I wanted just the back of someone's head being blown off, just because that's cool, right?
That's pretty cool. It's pretty metal.
But yeah, we kind of did it in that kind of like old school, like the logo kind of looks like a hand drawn, like ink drawn kind of deal, and all the words kind of look like they're typewriter, kind of just really old looking. And we got like the creepy hand in there on the back. That's kind of supposed to be what do you call that, David? Dylan knows the thing, but
I don't remember what it's called. Like when somebody's looking for a ride and they do that.
And they do this in Baltimore. You see this all the time. You'll be driving down the street and people will be doing this, and they're basically trying to get a ride. And so that's what that hand is doing on the back. It's kind of doing
what's funny though is being the only guy in the band from Baltimore. I used to drive through Baltimore all the time, and I'd see them doing that, and I thought it meant the drugs are here. But apparently it doesn't.
Yeah,
I think it probably does mean that too, Dan.
No. I asked Dylan about that because he said he always saw it in Brooklyn too, and he said it's somebody's looking for a ride because they're you're driving down the street of the way they need to go. So if you can just take them up a few blocks, but yeah.
So yeah, big thank you to my fiancée Brittany for the artwork. She's incredible.
Thank you, Brittany.
Yeah, it is really good. Like Jesus Christ.
She has a website. It's called okbinko.com. Bands can go on there and give her a commission for artwork or t-shirt designs or whatever.
You need to send me that so I can put it in the description and stuff.
Yeah.
But what's up with the numbers and such? I guess just because you're a mathcore band? I don't understand.
Yeah, some of the So yeah, so some of the numbers actually are songs. They're actually song structure numbers that we had written on our whiteboard.
Oh,
So they're kind of hidden in there, not all of them.
Yeah, so like if you were to look down at like the third line down and see 83168, I think that's the beginning to the night the line was crossed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is, and it's not necessarily like, that's the funny thing, right? Because we write all these numbers down, but they're not like actual music theory numbers or notations, right? Like we just
they're not.
We kind of count things out because it doesn't, our, like what we found with writing this music is it doesn't really work to count things out in a music theory mindset. So we kind of just like pick our accents, and like the accents will be like, oh, we do three like panic chords or Dillinger style chords there, and then one jung, and then back to like we just kind of break it up into what makes sense for us, really.
Yeah, it was really written in the band's own language, and I ended up having to tab everything out just for myself. So I ended up having to rewrite it in my own language because I come from a more musical background where I'm playing letters, and here it's just like there's no musical sense to it at all. So I wasn't really able to memorize it on the same level as everyone else. So it was definitely an adventure in like complexity.
So each of these numbers just represents like a way that you hit the guitar, then, or like a riff.
It's how many times your right hand strums, or
okay.
or David's hand hits a cymbal or something.
So it could literally mean anything then. Okay.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean because even the whiteboard, like we would do like stars for certain things, like we put like 8 with a little star next to it, and then or like squiggly lines on it too. Like it's a complete fucking psychotic mess, honestly.
Y'all should post pictures of this whiteboard.
We did.
Yeah,
and then
when everybody was doing like the pictures,
and then everybody started doing it.
Yeah, we called firsties on that.
Yeah, that was us.
I remember seeing those a while back. I didn't know that you guys started that though. That's fucking great. So, what do you guys put on your hot dogs?
Shout out to Shay. Is Shay in Albany watching this? He's the hot dog. DB Cooper, Shay, are you on here?
I do mustard and ketchup. I'm a simpleton.
Hey, simple man with simple pleasures. I like it.
I like all the fixins except for I like Dijon. So I like relish, onions, mustard, Dijon mustard.
David's from Denver, so he's got to be fancy with his mustard.
Yeah. We just put a bunch of weed on top of our hot dogs.
Oh yeah, dude, I'd be down with that too.
Don't forget Old Bay.
Yeah.
Being from Maryland, Old Bay.
So Baltimore has a thing at the Orioles games. There's a crab mac and cheese dog, and it's a hot dog with mac and cheese and crab meat and Old Bay on top of it, and it is the shit. Like, it is so good. That's actually probably my favorite thing from a hot dog.
Yeah, Holly in the chat is the one that came up with the question. She's saying, "Never forget, it's my question." I won't forget.
Hi, Holly. Can I say something to Holly? I was watching the Steak Sauce Mustache Mathcore Index set, and Holly's little thing where she's like just sneaks in there. That is so goddamn funny, and I lost it when I saw Holly, because they put her on that that page where she has her picture, and then she did it in real life. Like, oh my god, that was hilarious.
She's a gift to us all.
Yeah, Holly's great.
So Jesse, what do you put on your hot dogs?
Mustard and relish.
Okay, pretty straightforward. I like it. I dig it.
I like pickles.
So Daniel, you're gonna be leaving the band pretty soon, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm counting down the days, dude. No, no. I have no desire to put the band behind in any way. I just I know that there are dudes who could do it way better, and I'm the old guy in the band too. I'm 39, and just it's exhausting because the music is everything I would want it to be, and then it's like grass is greener on the other side. Once you get it, I'm like, oh god, this is fucking hard ass work trying to keep up. And I want someone who can keep up better and actually add more dimension musically. And I wasn't able to add that, even on the album when we're sitting in the studio with some time to fiddle around, I was, I couldn't perform the way I wanted to. So there's definitely people out there who can do it way better, and they're going to, and I'm psyched to be there and see it happen.
B. Dowdy, who's Brandon from Sterling and 30 Seconds Go, actually, says 39-year-old who raves during interviews. I dig it. And yeah, man, I think you're being a little too hard on yourself. Like, if you can pull this stuff off, like, just keep going at it, man. Like,
dude, if you were in the studio with me and Scott when we were recording this album, you would be like, okay, I get it. It was insane.
We love you, Dan.
Thank you. Love you guys.
So you guys got a song called Interlude, which, like, crazy name. I love that name. But it's got a sound clip on it about machines controlling warheads or whatever. What's that from? I've been trying to figure out.
Creepy, dude.
That's Carl Sagan. That's him. I think in the 80s, talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis and the threat of a nuclear war, and he's talking about a computer system that if everybody launched nukes at the same time, because remember back when Russia had all the nukes and all that. You guys remember that?
They still do, I think.
Yeah, right. Well, if all the nukes were up in the sky at the same time, this computer system would solve it, and it would like knock them all out. And if a person would never be able to do that, because if you miss one, then everyone's still dead.
So was that just like a cool sound clip, or does that have like something to do with the album?
It makes sense in the realm of society, and society kind of not being able to help themselves in certain situations within the lyrics.
And we have a lot of discontent with society. So in some ways we're okay with everyone dying, because it's just the vibe that the world is a great place and people is what makes it shitty. You know what I mean? And so, we felt that it was a pretty fitting sample right in the middle too. Which, by the way, we put out puff pieces and people kind of gave us some shit talking about album flow and all that shit, and how we didn't have, any kind of interlude in there. And we had like that ended on a soft note with the guitar kind of track by itself. And so we were like, okay, we'll kind of put something in the middle to break up chaos. Yeah, this one's a little bit longer, so you kind of need a minute break in there, to take a breath.
I'm personally not a huge fan of like just interludes being a single track though, because like, are you gonna stream that on Spotify or whatever? You know what I mean? Like that's just a skip most of the time, right? Like
it's got to be cool. We thought it was cool. Like I'm right there with you, Chris. I didn't want to do it, but I think it fits the flow of the album, and it's I actually love that track. Just how creepy that guitar is.
No, it sounds great for it being an interlude. It's a really good interlude. I like it, and the name Interlude, like for an interlude, like come on, you can't get better than that.
I was like, all right, if we're gonna do an interlude, we're gonna call it Interlude. And they let me do it. I can't believe it.
Pretty much just like Jesse just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, with naming shit, like none of us could have topped all of the song titles, and obviously the lyrics it all just hits so hard. And I would never be like, well, Jesse, you tone it down a little bit, It fits the mood of what the band, like, I think before I even joined the band, they were like, we're going to make this every second of everything is pissed off. And that pretty much, they pretty much stuck with that.
They did. So it looks like you guys have a string of shows announced in November. I guess it's your first like tour, huh?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Dan's last show with us is coming up in a week and a half, and that's here in Baltimore.
They have a replacement lined up then, or
we did. We had a replacement lined up, and he fell through. So we're still we're bringing somebody in on Tuesday with us. If worst comes to worst, we're going to do it as a 3-piece. Would you forget that, David?
I forgot he was coming on Tuesday.
Yeah, he's coming, man. So we're gonna see. We don't want to do it as a 3-piece, but if we have to, we will. The Wind in the Trees / the God Awful Truth It, and just go in hard as a 3-piece. But we're gonna try to have somebody fill those dates on bass. It's November 16th in Boston. and we're going to Long Island and Brooklyn and Albany, and then up in Harrisburg, PA. So we're gonna do a little bit and then try to do more next year. So
you guys need a new like permanent bassist then? Like you're still currently looking. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So speaking of shows, what's the best show you guys have played?
I don't know.
You did a lot. You played with Number 12 Looks Like You. Like that's pretty awesome, man. I figured that'd probably be up there, but you played with a lot of like really good bands. Every one of your shows has been like with top-notch bands.
Yeah, we had some cool shows. The Number 12 show was a big one just because it wasn't our first show. It was our second Baltimore show. It was with a band that we super look up to. And we were talking about Emmett earlier, the drummer. He was playing drums with Godmother from Sweden. Just another clarification on how good Emmett is. And then Pound played right after us. So that's a sick lineup.
Yeah, that night was awesome. My personal favorite show, the ones that we've done, was we did a show the day before New Year's Eve, so the 30th. It was a food drive show. It's a show that we've been trying to. We want it to be a yearly thing where we do a food drive. That's your entry. You bring some canned food, But we did that, and we played that with Finn and a local band called Nightwire, right?
Nightwire, yeah.
And it was that show was just the atmosphere. Like there was a show going on downstairs at Autobar, so we were playing the upstairs portion, and like everybody from the downstairs like came up to the upstairs.
Well, oddly, the bands that were playing the downstairs, like 3 out of those 4 bands were people that I had played in bands with before. So I kept going down there and trying to tell them like, hey, in between songs, tell people to go upstairs. And luckily their show ended, and then we played like almost immediately after that. So a lot of my old friends got to come up and see us. So that was a really cool show.
Yeah, that was the most fun because of all there was just a good atmosphere and crowd that night. And then I think as a band, I think it was our tightest set personally of all the ones we played.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome that y'all are doing trying to do at least canned food drive like every year. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, I got canceled last year. We have it scheduled for December 27th. We haven't announced it yet, but we're working on.
Well, you just did.
Yeah, right? We don't know who's doing it for sure, but maybe you can come up here and do it, Chris, because I saw that you are going on tour with the God Awful Truth.
I am. Yeah, we're gonna be heading up the southeast. Maybe next year. I don't know about going up there during December stuff, but yeah, like I definitely want to hook up with you guys at some point.
Well, we're coming through there next summer, hopefully. So we'll be in Texas.
Oh shit! Alrighty.
All things go according to plan.
Nice. So you already got plans for touring next year, then, like in the works?
Yeah. We're trying to figure it out, and this bass player thing. Once we get this ironed out, we might be able to eventually pick a couple of weeks to where maybe we can go do it next year. So
Yeah.
I got to bring it down to Texas. David's from Denver. We got to go out to Denver. We just want to go do that before the world ends. You know what I mean? For real.
We better hurry up then, man. We're getting pretty close.
It's yeah. Time's almost up.
So speaking of the world ending, what's your worst show?
We haven't had a bad show, but we got 40 shows canceled on us. So
Oh, is that how long that tour was? Jeez, I didn't think it was 40 shows. That's crazy.
No, that tour was 17 shows, but we've lost at least 40 with all the other things we would have been doing.
Yeah, we were
Probably would have been another tour in there too. So
yeah, we were booked from like April till August. Like by February, we had everything set up already. Like, we had a bunch of stuff lined up last year. I played in bad shows in other bands. Like I played a house show in a college town back home with my old band back in Denver, and that during our set, this guy pulled a knife on his girlfriend. So that was like not the best show that I've ever played.
that sounds like a Baltimore show to me.
It was probably the worst show, and yeah, I was not in like a great state of mind for that show. I was kind of messed up. So it was not clean performance.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Jeez.
I think I had a show in a previous band. Shout out to Pattern 13. We drove to Delaware. I'm from Maryland. It's not terribly far, but we drove 2.5 or 3 hours or something. And we get there and they're like, "Oh yeah, we canceled the show. Did no one tell you?" And
Nice.
and we were like, and they were like, "We'll give you gas money. Do you want to go ahead and play anyway?" And I didn't really feel like playing, but the other guys said, "Yeah, we'll go ahead and play." So there was like 2 people around the corner in the room playing pool and like the bartender, and that was it.
Yeah, I think I would have just taken the gas money and left. I don't know if I would have played.
Yeah, so I mean, we played, and I just paced around the room with like a wireless mic. I was on vocals at the time, and I was like, fuck it. It doesn't matter if I mess up because these people are playing pool. They don't give a fuck.
Dude, I have a million stories, but one comes to mind because we released this new album on Friday, which was the 8th of October. 16 years ago, my old band, 10 Cent Pistol, put out our EP on October 8th. And I remember that because the flyer, we're playing with the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza in our hometown. And it was an insane show. There were 300 people at this show. During our set, some girl let out a can of mace in the pit.
Oh God!
What the fuck?
And it's a small, it's there's no windows in this venue, right?
Right.
So we have it on video. You can start to see everybody on the stage behind us like start coughing, and then eventually, like, I was singing, so I just felt it like hit me so hard because I was probably breathing in like all that shit. We had to stop the show and clear everybody out, open the doors up, and try to air out the venue for like 30 fucking minutes. And so the story was that some chick got hit by some dude in the pit, and she just like probably wasn't used to going these shows. She just like fucking went and just like sprayed him.
God damn.
So there was the other band in town that night was 3 doors down. And I just remember that because I got up on stage and I was like, we're the people that didn't go to the 3 Doors Down show. This shit, this is something that happens at 3 Doors Down, not here. And I don't know, but I'll never forget that. Because remember back in the MySpace days, they had those banners where it said like something and then a band, and you would put those banners on your MySpace and you'd have like all these bands banners.
Yeah.
Well, we made a banner with like a little Hello Kitty thing, and it said, "I got maced in the fucking face at 10 Cent Pistol."
That's dope. That's
Remember
dope.
the true story.
Oodles of Brutal says it's a pit Karen.
Yep.
But no, I mean, I didn't realize that 10 Cent released anything. I thought that y'all just like, had the songs, like y'all just played shows and stuff. I didn't know y'all put anything out.
It's on SoundCloud for free.
Oh shit. Okay, well I need to download that. Send me a link to that. Like seriously, I want it.
It's not very good.
I remember like hearing about y'all back whenever I was coming up. I knew like your name and stuff. I just never like heard what you guys sounded like.
Yeah, when I first heard of the Sound That Ends Creation, I looked you up and I was like, oh, he's from Allen. And I was like, there's absolutely no way I haven't run into this guy Chris before somewhere, because it's not, it's a small, it's not a huge scene, but.
Oh yeah, there was you guys were going before I was like going to shows and stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah.
I remember the God Awful Truth guys when they were like, telling you, man, I met Jordan when he was like 11 or 12 or something. And he was like the coolest fucking kid. And I was like, that kid's going to be a really good singer one day. And he is.
Well, he's in the chat right now too, saying to check out Tencent, that Jesse's lying, that Pistol's fucking badass.
check out Light of December. That's the real shit.
Was that? Yeah, I remember you mentioned that before. I don't know where I heard it. Maybe it was Sheep's Clothing or something like that. I think you did an interview with them or something. What was Light of December again?
That's their old band. That's the God Awful Truth guys' old band.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Jordan, send me a link to that shit. Anyway, what's the weirdest show you guys have played? I guess you said a pretty weird one right there, but I'll top that.
Yeah. We played Falls Church, Virginia, with 156 Silence and Black Matter Device. That was a weird show.
Sounds like a badass show, man. Oh, how's that weird?
It was just, I felt like I was back in the year 2000 because, like, I mean, I think that was the first all ages show Under the Pier played. Or
Yeah, I was able to bring my daughter to that show, and it was really funny. There's these really sweet guys in the opening band that were like 16 years old or something, and they had like their amps at the front of the stage and stuff, and I was like trying to help them so they could hear themselves while they were performing and stuff. But oh yeah, I mean, it took me back to the old days. Like around here, there was Cobra Clutch shows that were at halls like in Linthicum, and it was all like solid state tooth and nail bands playing in these little halls, and it was just sound is always an adventure there too. But the crowd was really great. There's my dude who always does like crazy flips and stuff in the pit was there, and he was jumping around like a maniac. So it was fun, but it's definitely weird.
we got to see Black Matter Michael Tony do drums and the drummer do the vocals that night. So that was severely impressive to see somebody be able to pull that off.
Yeah, Roman had a broken arm, so Michael played drums. And I'll never forget him at the end of that set. He slammed the drums and like pushed him away from him. And he said, "I fucking hate playing drums." And he got up.
Did he do a good job? Did it sound right?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I've seen him play guitar while doing all the vocals for that band and doing just vocals and doing drums. Dude does all the things.
Yeah, I've been waiting on their next album to come out. I've been wanting to get them on the podcast.
Yeah, they need to get that. They need to get that out because
put it out, dude. Put it out.
Stop waiting. Don't quit sitting on it.
You heard him. So you guys have CDs and vinyl available through Dark Chill Records. You also got a bunch of shirt designs. You got hoodies, beer cozies as well at underthepier.bandcamp.com/merch. I don't suppose you have anything on hand, do you?
Yeah, let me go get it. Give me 1 second.
Well, while he's grabbing that, y'all want to tell me what the last thing you listened to was?
Go ahead, David.
I listened to this rapper from Buffalo named Westside Gunn. He put out some new stuff in the last like month or two. That was the last thing I was listening to today.
Okay. I'm not a big rap guy, but I can get behind some of it. You know, I just don't know like the artist names.
I had I think I was watching a documentary or something. They mentioned this group called Propellerheads from like the 90s. And I had heard them, but never checked them out. And I was like, let me see what they sound like. And so I put on their one album, and it was like a fucking time machine, dude. It sounded like Chemical Brothers in their heyday or something. It was kind of cool. I've been trying to get myself to not only listen to the stuff that just came out this week. So I'll try to like go back a couple decades here and there.
Right. Dude, that's sick. That's the hoodie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's like 5 hoodies left, but get them because it's about to get cold again, and we ain't getting any more of them.
So Jesse, what was the last thing you listened to?
Will Six.
Wilsiacs?
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
sick.
I got the CD, and I jammed it in my car today, and it is fucking stellar. It's one of those like it's just an EP. But god damn, it's so good, man. Like I just want it to keep going and going and going.
Yeah, it was sad. It's pretty short.
Yeah.
I actually got them scheduled for an interview later on sometime. Not sure when exactly, but they'll be coming on too.
Yeah, they were we were originally trying to get them on our Boston show that's coming up. But they couldn't do it, but we'll hook up with them at some point.
Hell yeah, it's a sick band on the rise. What's your album of the year so far?
Fuck. What's y'all's?
For me, it's probably. I mean, I'm a huge Between the Buried and Me fan, so and I always have been. So Colors 2 is kind of like the second coming of Christ to me. It's like the more I dive into it, that album, the more I find all the layers and hidden shit that they put in there and the little Easter eggs that they hid for like old school fans, and it's stellar. And the musicianship just hasn't gone away at all for them.
That's dope. I honestly I've not checked it out yet. I know I'm one of the odd ducks out, but yeah, I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, Oxidized is incredible. David,
Dude, it is.
I told you guys at practice last week I hadn't listened to it yet, and I put it on. It's insane. It's my album of the year. I mean, how could it not be? It's just so good. Blood Moon. from Converge. Just the one track so far, it's fucking incredible. I really feel like that girl's voice lends itself so perfectly to what Converge does, and it's just feels so fitting to hear that her with that band, with Bannon still being Bannon behind her. Phenomenal.
Yeah, Chelsea Wolf. Yeah, I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm psyched to hear what Steve Brodsky does on that album too, because I like everything he's ever done.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
But for me, I like I was saying, I've been trying to get myself to branch out from just listening to mathcore and slam death metal all the time. So I've been listening to this Mitch Murder new album, and it's like it's weird, like synthwave, but it like puts you in like an elevator in a department store in the 1980s or something. It's got such a weird vibe.
That's a hell of a description.
Yeah. It's really neat. It can take you out of whatever weird, terrible mood you're in, because you're just like, what the fuck is this?
The other one that still held true for me all year, which like because it came out on the first, was the new Juan Bond album.
Dude, it is really sick. I keep forgetting that that's like technically out this year too.
Yeah, January 1st. Yeah.
Yeah, that album's it's so solid all the way through.
Dude, absolutely. Oodles and Brutal says Fondlims and Frontier are my go-tos, but y'all's new is getting up there. I've listened to it like 4 times today.
Well, thank you.
Shout out to Thin. Thin dropped us a 4-way split with some other bands. Really good stuff from Thin that just came out as well.
Dude, I love Thin. They're so. But yeah, that's about all I had to talk about. Unless you had something else you want to bring up.
We're good, man. We're gonna come down to Texas and see you. And I just wanted to say thank you for doing this, Chris, because you really are giving this genre another platform for people to experience this type of music, an outlet for a lot of these bands. So we super appreciate you, and your project is one of the best in the scene, man. You're amazing at what you do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really glad you guys were able to get on here. I've been itching to talk to y'all for a while now, actually.
Definitely, man.
Shout out to Dylan while he's at work.
Yeah. Love you, Dylan.
So everyone's a little discontent, but you still need to get your exercise in. And Under the Pier's new album, and Exercise and Discontent, will get you hyped and ready for that workout. You guys are on Facebook, Bandcamp, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and all streaming platforms. Am I missing any social plugs?
We're on Twitter. We just don't use it. We will one day, though. I promise.
Alrighty. So drop my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and streaming services, as well as getting some access to some exclusive emotes. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you like the video, please drop a like, click on the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation, at thesoundthatenscreation@bandcamp.com. Pre-orders for my new album, Boomers, Zoomers, Desperate Coomers, are up now.
Were you the Micro Machine guy?
Oh no, that's Hopscotch Battle Scars. I saw that too. Hopscotch Battle Cars. Yeah, it's so good. That's so good. My next guest is Funeral Singer. Join us this Wednesday the 13th at 7 p.m. Central for the live cast. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you had a good time.
Thanks a lot, dude.
Chris, appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and thank you guys for watching and listening.